Hi, I'm Wendy Lowy Sloan, and this is What's Up with Wendy. I began my career in New York City as a TV producer for talk show legends, and for the last decade, I've used those experiences to create my unique style in interviewing hundreds of A-list celebrities, newsmakers, comedians, musicians, reality stars, fitness and nutrition experts, best-selling authors, and so much more. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of What's Up with Wendy's podcast. My special guest today, nicknamed the Big Hurt, he got his official start in baseball at Auburn University, and after making MVP in his junior year, he left that summer and was taken with the 7th overall pick by the White Sox. For 15 years, he was the first baseman and designated hitter. A true baseball legend is joining me today, Frank Thomas. You won't want to miss this.
Five-time All-Star, two-time American League MVP, Baseball Hall of Famer. He knows what it means to be part of a World Series championship team. He has done so as a member of the White Sox in 2005. Nicknamed the Big Hurt, I need to know about that too. Welcome, a true baseball legend. I'm so excited, Frank Thomas.
Thank you, Wendy. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show.
I'm so happy to have you. I know we're going to talk about Verilux, which is so important in your partnership with them. But before we do, can we talk about this past season and your favorite games and plays and everything else?
I think it's just been a wonderful season for baseball after the pandemic. Last year was more of a sprint for a 60-game sprint. This year we're back to a 162-game schedule, and it's been very positive. A lot of young breakout stars have hit the scene. I think baseball is in the best hands they've been in a very long time. You look at the Field of Dreams game in Iowa they had a few weeks ago. Just baseball is up and up this year, and it's been spectacular. I'm getting ready for the 1st of October because that's when the playoffs starts. I'm on national TV with Fox doing their show, and I get a firsthand look at some of these great players on the big stage.
It's exciting because you left the field, but you really never left the field.
No, it's just been great to stay involved with baseball. But basically, I had a 20-year free education on the Don and playing and then being in dugouts every night. So I get some inside scoop because I have a lot to give to people by being there 20 years on that bench.
Oh my God, you just said the dugout. What was it like in the dugout all those years?
Oh, I don't think I can tell everybody on TV, but it was an interesting ride, night in, night out. See guys, up and down, struggling the good times and the bad times. That's the only thing I really miss because that builds character.
That does build character. And how's family life? I know you have 6 kids.
Yes, I have.
Is the age range 28 to 4?
Yes, you're right. Well, 5 now, 5 to 29. So it's great. I have 3 boys and 3 girls, and they're all tight and close. It's a beautiful thing. Keeps me young.
That is. And how was it during the pandemic?
It was great. We got to know each other all over again. Sitting in the house for 3 straight months, we got on each other's nerves, especially older kids. Because they're adults now, and to be locked down with dad was not a good thing for them.
No, I can't imagine. All right, so you grew up playing, Frank. You grew up playing both football and baseball.
Yes.
How did you
choose,
or did it choose you?
It chose me. I went to Auburn on a full football scholarship, walked up to the baseball team, but it wasn't something they didn't know. I was on back-to-back state championships in baseball, so the world got to see me in baseball. They said I was too big. They thought I was a football player playing baseball, so I took the football scholarship, played well at Auburn. Coach Pat Dye gave me the opportunity to play baseball, and he came and watched me. In 2 weeks, he said, I might be looking for you to stay out there on that baseball field. And I was like, what are you talking about in a football scholarship? He said, don't worry, Thomas. I've seen a lot of great football, baseball players. He said, but you got something special there. And he really helped me make that decision to choose baseball.
Wow. How did you get the nickname the Big Hurt?
Everyone asks me that. It's Mr. Hulk Harrelson. Ken Harrelson, who just went to the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's the best of giving nicknames. And after a year and a half, he just said, this big guy just continued to pound the baseball. I'm going to call him the Big Hurt. I haven't seen anything like this from a big guy with this kind of hand-eye coordination, hitting the ball this hard all the time. So they paid me the Big Hurt, and it stuck.
Is there any other nicknames we should know about?
No, that's it. That's the only one that really stuck. It really is.
Oh, wow.
I never really cared for nicknames, but when he pinned me that, everybody just took off, and everybody started calling me that. So I'm happy for it because I've got a lot of wear and tear out of that nickname.
That's for sure. Do you remember the best, I'm sure you do, the best ball you ever hit?
I think the one that stand out the most was in 1995 at the All-Star game. I had just won the home run derby the night before, and in the third inning, I hit a 2-run home run in the All-Star game. So that's one that I'll always remember.
Amazing. Do you ever realize, and did you realize on and off the field, what an impact that you were having on so many people?
Well, I'm a very humble guy, and I grew up in a small town. I just love people. So I was always willing to help, did a lot for charity because that was just my nature. So very proud of my career, but very proud of what I've done off the field too. So yes, Wendy, it's been a great ride. It's
pretty amazing. If you just tune in, I'm talking to a real iconic player, MLB legend, Frank Thomas. You have your own video game. Is that true?
I've had a couple, yes, throughout the years. But the games are getting so much better nowadays. You go back to my game, it's like a dinosaur. But the one thing I'm proud of is the Big Hurt pinball machine. If you ever can locate one of those, it was like 500 of those nationwide, and people love those things. There are a lot of pubs and bars, and people still text me when they see those things.
If I'm gonna be looking for that now, so a pinball machine, I'm gonna text you because now I have your number.
It's still state of the art. It's still state of the art. It is the coolest thing to play.
That's pretty amazing. That's awesome. So did you play yourself in your own games back then?
Oh yeah, always, always. It was fun. You know, when I see the games now that are so realistic, I wish I was like 20 years ago when I got mine. I wish I was here today because these games right now will last forever. But technology changes every month. You know that.
Yeah, of course, of course. What was it like to train you trained with Michael Jordan, right?
Yes. He really cared about baseball. He wanted to be a baseball player on the side. Michael's a very interesting athlete. You know, he's the greatest basketball player to live, probably. And for him on the baseball field, he worked just as hard. Didn't have that natural raw talent, but he had so much ability, he was closing the gap pretty fast.
Wow. Okay, looking ahead, your picks and predictions. I could talk to you all day, by the way.
Thanks, Wendy.
Listen to all your
picks and predictions. So what we got for the playoffs? You know, the team, there's got to be a front runner. I still think it's the LA Dodgers. You know, they paid for a roster full of superstars, and they're all producing. They have that pitching. So it starts with pitching. And then in the American League, I like my Chicago White Sox because they have pitching to match. And they also have a healthy hitting staff right now, got a lineup that can produce. So great pitching beats great hitting. I think it's going to go down to the White Sox and the Dodgers.
The White Sox and the Dodgers. Okay. And do you keep in touch with everybody still? A lot of people?
I try. I'm a very busy man, but I still, get those phone calls out to friends every now and then. So one thing about baseball, you make friends for life. And even if you don't talk to them for a year, the next year you see them, it's just like you pick up right where you left off.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about Verilux, the number one recommended progressive lens. So important that you're bringing this to our attention.
Worldwide. As a baseball player, I took my vision for granted, Wendy, and because I was 2010 and saw everything perfectly. Then around 45, I was starting to look at menus and text messages and apps, and like everything was blurry. I thought something was wrong with me at first, so I went to my eye care provider, and he laughed at me and said, "Big Hurt, welcome to old eyes. Your eyes are old. You're not that baseball player anymore." And recommended the progressive lenses, and they worked out well for me because it's really helped clear my vision, and they're pretty stylish. So that's why I really like them. So I tell everyone to go out to your eye care provider, and if they tell you have presbyopia, don't freak out. It's just a normal aging eye condition, and we're all going to go through it if you live long enough. So like I said, I'm proud of my progressive lenses now, and get out and see your eye care provider. It's very important.
Verilux.com. It's Verilux.com. The number one recommended progressive lens. If it's good enough for Frank Thomas, it's good enough for all of us.
You got that right, Wendy. Thank you for having me on your program. And once again, Verilux.com. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Frank. Thanks so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
My special guest today was the subject of a modern-day love essay written by his wife, Amy Krause Rosenthal, telling the world that she would soon die and that her beloved husband deserved another shot at happiness. I tear up when I just say that. Her essay, printed 10 days after her death, was a viral sensation. Joining me today, the man that is the subject of that poetic tribute, now with his own book, My Wife Said You Should Marry Me. Thank you, and I'm so happy to have you. Welcome, Jason Rosenthal.
Hi, and good morning. Thanks for having me.
I don't even know what to say after that. I get chills thinking about it, reading it, saying it. I felt
you
like
are not the only one. Yes.
Yeah, I felt like I knew you from reading this book. And there were so many parts in it that meant things to me, as I'm sure it did to everybody else all over the world. So let's back up and start with, you were happily married, fairy tale, beautiful wife, 3 beautiful children, 2 boys and a girl. I love your daughter's name, Paris.
Thank you.
And then life came crashing down. And you even said something in the book, what the rabbi said, for better, for worse, for sickness and in health. And you certainly didn't expect all of this. Let's start from the beginning. You guys met on a blind date.
Yes, we did. Yeah. A gentleman we affectionately call Uncle John, who is my father-in-law Paul's best childhood friend, and who happened to date my mom in the early 70s between her 2 marriages. So he knew the 2 of us as kids. And at the time I was in law school studying for the bar exam, and Amy was moving back from a big advertising job in San Francisco to Chicago. And he said, hey, you should call this woman. And so I did. Went on my first and only blind date.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
First and only. And so tell us about your marriage said a lot about you and about her and about the 2 of you together, just, how bonded you guys were from the start.
Yeah, I mean, that's really true. We were so super young. That's one thing. So we just, we went about it in a way that was just sort of natural. There wasn't a guide or a lesson plan. And we quickly became really super compatible, and one of the things I include in my book, which lots of people have sort of paid attention to, is this list that we formed on our honeymoon. And we called it Amy and Jason Rosenthal's Marriage, Goals, and Ideas. And it was interesting because I came back to that list as I was preparing to write this book. And it sort of became this model that we followed on how to live our lives, even though, it wasn't like affixed to the refrigerator or anything like that. In fact, we tucked it away. But yeah, we just really had a lot of fun together. We had tremendous mutual respect for one another. We gave each other space to be who we were as individuals. And yet at the same time, we just really loved being together.
You could tell by everything that you write and the stories that you share and the kids and your whole journey. You talked about, obviously you were a lawyer, you probably worked a lot of hours. And when Amy was diagnosed, she became the center and that was what became the most important thing. It wasn't the work anymore. It was just about being there for her.
Absolutely true. Yeah. I pretty much put everything on hold. I was working a little bit from my dining room table, which is where I find myself again during this quarantine. But yeah, there was absolutely no decision to make there. The instinct that I had, and really it became my purpose in life, was to take care of her, make her comfortable, to love her, and to get through this process, which we had optimism for, of course, at the beginning.
Yes, and that process must have been very difficult, and you had to be so strong for her and for the kids and for everybody else. And you write in the book, you say a loss is a loss, a loss. And
yes, I do. Yeah,
I can so relate to that. And you talked about the journey of bringing your son Miles to school, and then she was rushed to the hospital, and it brought back memories. I lost my father last year, and my parents are in Florida, and my kids were away at school. And I was like, when I was reading that part in your book, it just kept coming back to saying, I knew my father was going last year. We just didn't know when. And my whole thing was the kids and this, and everything just stopped. So that part of the book that you wrote, and how you guys got on the plane and went to her and turned around and got there within 2 hours. It was just, I'm sure so many people can relate to that too.
Yes, that was a really harrowing moment. And, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And what I learned over the last 3 years is I continue to speak about my process is that epiphany that I had, that loss is loss is loss. And to me,